The ex-wife is I'm a real ex-wife. Everything that could have gone wrong my first time went wrong. He was just fucking me out of position and I was just... I'm lucky if I'm attracted to my co-star, but 99.9% of the time I'm not.
Hi, my name is Bree Mills, and I am a porn director with a purpose. Now, throughout my career, I have covered just about every niche, and I've created some award-winning films and brands along the way. But now, I'm much more interested in getting to know the real people behind my characters. And that's because I believe adult entertainers can be some of the most powerful role models when it comes to sex ed, consent, empowerment, and wellness. By asking the right questions, our community can really help people better understand themselves. So that's the mission of this podcast. Let's get up close. Well, welcome to the podcast, Karen.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. This is actually the first time we have sat down in person to meet.
Won't be the last, though.
Won't be the last, and it's the best.
Of course.
There's nothing less intimidating than like sitting down and talking for the first time in a long form conversation.
Yeah, with perfect lighting and some cameras and a bunch of strangers around us.
100%.
Real personal.
So right before we started rolling, we were talking about the younger generations these days.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, the idea of like people don't watch movies anymore. They're just watching reviews of movies.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And, what boggles my mind is how people don't really live lives anymore. They just watch other people living lives.
Yeah.
But those people they're watching aren't actually living lives. They're just creating a fabricated life for other people to watch. How do you feel about that, XWife Karen?
How do I feel about all that? It's sad, but our generations are consistently changing. Everything's evolving. There's things that are happening now that we don't fully understand. I'm sure that our elders would be watching us and be like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like when the internet came up, they're probably like, what is this?
That's true. And we all embraced it and it made us who we are.
Yeah.
I know we were also talking off camera about how we don't get a lot of technology these days.
Yep.
But you started, right? Like you're a Tumblr girl.
Yes.
So you were actually like an early adopter of porn on the internet.
I was. I loved porn. I loved the internet when it was just unhinged. It was like the Wild Wild West. The normal internet was like the dark web. You're like, what the fuck am I looking at? But we're here. But yeah, I started with DSL, dial up, all those good things. And then when I went let me tell you about my Tumblr thing.
Please.
So when I turned 18, I became a camgirl, right? And I was camming on and off. And I had taken a little break and I was like, okay, I need to get back on it. How the hell am I going to get back on it? It's very competitive. I am no one in this industry. How am I going to get an audience? So their Tumblr was out. And I was like, okay, I have an idea. People love sex. And I'm going to create a sex blog. And I'm going to make sure it gets really big. I would submit my photos to other blogs. And I won't let anyone know who runs this. I don't know how I knew how to do it. But I had a plan. I figured it out. So I got really big. And I don't remember if it was like 10 or 12,000 followers on there where I dropped my first nude and people went wild. They're like, this horny girl is the one that runs this and they love it. So I gained an audience. And until I got to like a good number on Tumblr, I was like, okay, guys, I just want to let you know I'm a cam girl. Follow me here and watch me. And that's how I was able to take off.
And you said that all kind of happened organically. Like you didn't go in necessarily with a background in e-commerce marketing, but your instincts led you down that path that helped you build that following.
Because I don't think there's a lot of girls, at least at my time, like that they would put out how horny they were. A lot of girls weren't watching porn. I felt like still porn was a lot of really taboo for women, like the average woman, and not me. I've seen everything, and I love it all.
Okay, we're gonna talk it. We're gonna deep dive into that today, Karen. Okay, but I wanna go back to, because I think I'm always curious to learn like that first step into the industry. So you mentioned that you started camming.
Okay, yeah.
How did you learn about cam sites?
Okay, so my story's kind of sad. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
So I when I was 17, my mom died 12 days before my 18th birthday. And when I turned 18, my stepdad told me I had to move out. And unfortunately, I was a teen mom in Orange County, and I had a 6-month-old baby, and I'm not from the States. So I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? I have half a 10th grade education. I don't have any family here. I live in one of the most expensive cities in America. How am I going to make this? And I was talking to my best friend at the time, and I was like, hey, like, I don't have to go be a stripper, bro. And I can't dance. I hate people. I hate everyone equally. And I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm awkward. I don't seem awkward, but I'm very awkward in the real world. And so he's like, be a camgirl. And I was like, what the fuck is a camgirl? And he's like, you masturbate in front of a webcam. And I was like, okay, sure. So my first experience was on my free cams with a shitty Dell laptop that had a built-in webcam on my childhood bed with one dildo that I got for my 18th birthday that I called Oscar de la Hoya because he beat up the pussy. And I just did it. I've never masturbated actually until I was a cam girl. I was a teen mom. Like, I was fucking. Like, if I was masturbating, maybe I wouldn't have been a teen mom, you know? Like, I was doing other stuff I didn't really know. So that was my way of into it. And I did really well.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I did. I've always like making money, so I always figured it out, and I went into it, and I ran, and I killed it.
Yeah.
One time, my stepdad heard me. He turned off the internet. But at that time, I had money in the bank, and I got my own place.
Yeah, and you were on your way.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, life has this way of propelling us forward, right? So when something really challenging or, heartbreaking happens, as in obviously the case, with your mom's passing, you look back on it now all these years later, and you know that as tough as it was in that moment, it was like that defining moment that started you to the journey that you are, and where you're at now. So it's always kind of humbling to go back and look at like, that was the catalyst for so much change.
Yeah, my life was hard. It was really hard for so many years, and camming wasn't easy. It doesn't matter how many times I did it. It doesn't matter. Like, I would spend like 8-9 hours sometimes. You don't always make money.
Yeah.
You have to really just put yourself, and it was hard to, because I always had standards and morals, like how much I wanted to do with camming. And I don't mind, masturbating, all that. But it was always hard when I would hit a point and then that would be it because the other girls are meeting you outside of the campsite and I only exist on the internet. It was always hard for me to like get bigger because I'm like, I can't offer you these other things. Like I could only offer you the best private of your life with me on this site, So it was always a little hard for me because I've always had to work a lot harder to kind of like make sure I don't kill myself in the process.
Well, and again, finding Tumblr was like a good way, right? Like, how am I gonna build that following?
Yep.
So the obviously Tumblr is no more. Our RIP Tumblr, the source of so many of our early this generation's early memories of sexuality. But you said that like you think that what made you stand out was the fact that you weren't afraid to show your sexuality through your Tumblr account.
Yep.
So before you posted that first nude, what was the type of content that you would share?
Everything. Every single GIF, video, nude, everything that I found hot, gangbangs, girls, squirt, every single thing that I enjoyed, I just put it out there. And anytime I followed so many other sex blogs, I did my research and I was like, hey, this is it. And you just go to it and it's a page of horniness. And of course, people are going to get horny and they're like, oh shit, it's this bad bitch with big tits. She runs it. Why do you not want to watch her,
And you kept like your kind of face anonymous, or you did that?
No, I showed everything.
Okay, so but they just never saw you go past a certain line until you chose to reveal that. That's pretty smart.
Thank you.
So I guess that it was like your personal palette of what you found hot, right? And that did require extensive amounts of research.
Oh, but it was things I was going to do anyways.
Yeah.
To be honest. Might as well be making some money from it.
Yeah. So I take it you were a bit of a porn connoisseur.
Yes.
So what kind of stuff, like what were you into back then? And how has that evolved, especially since you've started shooting content?
Okay, since I started shooting content, now I have to watch super amateur stuff because I'm like, fuck, I know who this person is. I recognize that penis. I know who that tit is. I'm like, God damn it, I want the amateur. I miss the days where I used to come and I didn't know who the fuck they were. But so from then till now, I don't think much has changed. I think my newest kink is I'm into peeing piss tripping. So the girls that scissor and then piss on each other.
Okay.
You're like, nice.
No, listen. I mean, I've also sort of seen it all at this point as well. And now I'm mostly thinking about my mind always deflects back to, are we allowed to do that in compliance? And I think our rules are there's no consumption, but peeing on somebody else consensually is okay.
Yeah.
I believe. So that could be like a lesbian bad scenario right there.
I would love that.
There you go.
My favorite
Take
scene
note.
right now, sorry to cut you off. My favorite scene right now is this really amateur 3 girlfriends. They are all 3 girlfriends, and 2 of them are pretty thick, and one of them is so thin, and she's the only one that shows her face. My favorite video is where she's in the bathtub. One of the girls is in the bathtub. She's standing. She's pissing. She's peeing in the girl's mouth, and then getting her ass eaten by the other one. And I was like, wow.
There you go. Now that I can't do. That for sure I cannot do. But I am glad that is the video of choice right now. So, you built this following. Mm-hmm. You leveraged it to like help obviously build like your cam profile and your overall audience. Mm-hmm. What led you into wanting to work with studios and to work with the companies that you had previously collected and curated?
Okay, so about 2 years ago now, I was in a relationship and he cheated on me with half the world. And that broke my heart. And I've always been kind of like on the fence of wanting to do porn, not wanting to do porn. I didn't really know like where I wanted to go. But I was like, oh, okay, well, you fucked everyone. So I guess it's my turn. And I'm going to make sure that every single time you watch porn, every time, any site, you see me.
Is that the origin story behind the name
That's
XWife
my villain
Karen?
story. No, the ex-wife is I'm a real ex-wife.
Yeah.
That one has something else. My ex-husband's girlfriend at the time, well, they're still together, would nonstop bothering me like 5 years ago, nonstop harassing me, calls, text messages, fake accounts. And this is where I was rebranding myself from a camgirl where I was Karen Materia. And I was kind of like stepping away from that and stepping into being an OnlyFans girl. And I was like, okay, I kind of need to rebrand myself. I need to do something because I don't want to be Karen Materia anymore. I need to be something else. So because of her harassing me nonstop, and I was going really viral at the time because my boobs dance, and I would be with a lot of people that in the videos where I'd be titty twerking, and that would get me a lot of views.
Yes.
So that's where I was like, okay, that was also my big fuck you to her. I'll be like, all right, since you want to harass me, I'll make sure that every single time you are online, you'll always be reminded that no matter what, I'm the ex-wife.
I feel like there's this trend. Here of that you are a true artist.
Yeah.
And you are manifesting real life experience into your art, right? I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
And the, what did we call it? The
titty twerking?
Titty twerking. There you go, folks. I said before this interview that I could wiggle my ears, but you did not reveal that you could do that.
Yeah. I can't wiggle my ears. I think that's way cooler.
Yeah. So you're mentioning you had a previous relationship, didn't end well, didn't treat you well, and you decided, I'm gonna go get into studio porn as part of my moving
fuck
forward.
You.
Fuck you, as you said.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you do? How did you get in?
Okay, so I was a solo creator for about 12 years. I introduced women, started doing a little bit of collabs here and there with women, and that was cool, but I just hate working with girls that are actually very straight because I'm like, what are you doing? That's another conversation. And then
we'll have that.
Yes. So then I have friends that are porn stars. I hit up my good friend Abby, and I was like, hey, Abby, I want to do porn. What do I need to do? She said, you need to get tested. She gave me the 3 testing spots. And I was like, do you mind giving me a list of people I can work with? So I really don't know who the fuck I'm supposed to go. So she gave me a list and I got tested. I got a list. I hit someone up. And then I had a good social media following, good one on Twitter at the time. And then I started posting my couple of my boy-girl collabs. Karen Lee hit me up. We worked and I was like, I want to do porn. He's like, okay. I got you. I'll put a name in for you. I put a word in for you. And then my first video was browsers.
Nice. That's a good way to start.
Thank you. Yeah. Second one too. And then I just kind of took off running from there.
Yeah. And I know that you are part of the Spiegler agency now. So is that another person on the list that you wanted to contact?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just wanted to do everything right. I know that being heavily tattooed, I was going to have some challenges, and I definitely do face them, but I believe that with Spiegler on my side that I was kind of capable to do anything.
For those who may not know, so the Spiegler Agency is a talent agency that really represents, some of the top performers in the industry. And as a producer, they're definitely one of our go-tos because of not just, like looks aside, but really the professionalism of the roster, and knowing that it's talent that is all there for the right reasons. To me, those are like the two,
of course,
the two big distinctions. So I know that when I saw that that you all had connected, it was like, great, perfect excuse to bring you onto our set. So you're, you mentioned you had a couple of good first experiences working with our friends at Brazzers. What kind of struck you as being maybe what you didn't expect about studio porn? Like, what was the sort of the biggest eureka moment that you had in those first experiences that you maybe didn't think was going to happen when you were solo creating?
Well, everything that could have gone wrong my first time went wrong. My stomach had to go number 2. I had shot the day before and I had a tear, so I was bleeding throughout my scene, everything. And you wouldn't believe it, but I've been very, very introverted. Before I started doing the skits, the comedy skits, going to the grocery store would make me cry. Like having any kind of conversation would make me cry. I didn't do well with people. So stepping from being very introverted to doing this was a big like, fuck it, we are doing it. We don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna try. And that's all I could do was try because my fucking God, I didn't know what to expect. And every time is a little bit different.
And I always find that, like, I hear that, come up, not in every conversation I have for this podcast, but in a good number of them where, who you are, as a person, as Karen behind the persona has those feelings of being like introverted or maybe anxious, and that it's this huge leap to get to that on-screen persona, right? And that takes a tremendous amount of courage.
Yeah.
So, so many people would just turn and run the other way.
Yeah.
Why do you not? What caused you to dive in for that?
Because the porn is my choice. Doing all this is my choice. And regardless of how hard it is, I made this decision and I'm going to do it. I'm no quitter and I want to be the best.
Yeah.
So, I have nothing to prove to no one but myself. And that's what makes me keep going.
What have been some of your favorite on-set experience, or like, let's say your favorite scenes you've shot so far?
My favorite scenes that I've shot so far, I recently shot my first feature. That was so cool. I just love the experience. As my favorite scene, it's one of those times I'm like, oh my God, I've shot so many. How do I not remember any? Okay, so I recently shot for Bang Bros. It's not out yet, but I work with Johnny Love, and I like working with him because he turns me into a squirtinator in every position. And I love working with people that really bring out the best performer in me. It's someone that's just like, we've worked together so many times. My body knows what to do. I feel so comfortable, which allows me to I squirted in every position. It was so cool. I had no idea it was happening. It wasn't one of those like piss squirts. I was like, oh, we're doing it. And
I was going to ask you, like, what makes someone become the squirtinator? Like, how does it?
He's just fucking me out of position, and I was just, and I was like, okay, all right. And every time to this day, from the first time I squirted to this day, me squirting, it's always a surprise. I never know it's coming, and I always get really excited. And I'm the worst sometimes on set because when I do it, I'm like, did we all catch this? Because I was as shocked as you guys were.
It's like seeing a unicorn. You're like, wow, I can't believe my body just did that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I can definitely understand that. When you think back in terms of like your own sort of sexuality, this is one of my favorite questions. What media or pop culture reference comes to mind when you think about something that like sparked something in you when you were coming up?
Girls Gone Wild. I'll be honest. I only watched I watched 2 things growing up: Law and Order SVU and Girls Gone Wild. And I didn't want to be a cop, so I went the other direction, to be completely honest.
Okay, so what was it about the girls of Girls Gone Wild that resonated with you?
Besides me being very gay, and it tingled me every time I was like, oh, so hot, trying to look around the TV as if I can move their sensor. But I don't know. I just loved it. I thought it was so hot. These girls are partying, and all I remember is them going, "What?" And I'm like, I want to go like that. I just want to do that.
Is the sort of exhibitionist element something that's super attractive because you have those like natural feelings of being an introvert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Like
We always go for the opposites, right?
yeah, I'd love to do like a real glory hole thing where I don't know anything. I love experiences where I'm blindfolded and I just let others do what they want. And I just don't gotta look.
What have you learned since, working for studios, but just in general over your career about sex and sexuality that you would offer as advice for others?
I don't know if I've learned so much. I've just learned more of what I don't like, honestly. I thought I was really into eating ass, and then I ate a couple of those, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to eat your ass anymore. Yeah, it's hard to answer that question because I didn't take away because I already came in knowing so much.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was a terrible answer. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it would probably make a really good soundbite. My team will be like, yes, she talked about eating ass. But you actually said something that really connects with me, which is about like the importance of building your personal brand.
Mhm.
And obviously you put a lot of emphasis into that. Like that was your journey started through building up your personal brand and then bringing your brand to the rest of us,
Mhm.
right? So we talked about your early motivations for that, but for young creators, up and coming creators, maybe what advice would you give them to help like own who you are
Stay true to yourself.
There you go.
I know that sounds so cheesy, and everyone's like, who the fuck am I? Because I'm still trying to figure out who I am, honestly. Every day is a new adventure. But stay true to yourself and don't do anything you don't want to do. Yes, there's money there. Yes, sometimes people will be making more money because they're doing more things. But if you doing that is going to hurt you, you don't have to do anything to hurt you. Everything is your choice.
Mhm.
And if you don't like it, go do something else. So that's my advice.
That's very good advice.
Thank you.
What consent is something that's super important for us at Adult Time and really part of how we navigate our days on set and just the relationship we build with talent. How do you navigate kind of consent within your own life, both within your own content and just as a civilian?
With consent, within content, we would talk about like the do's and don'ts. Everyone I've worked with, I've done a lot of research. I've never had a bad collab.
Mhm.
And then in my personal life, I'm in a monogamous relationship with my girlfriend. So we always talk about stuff and things consistently change, but it's just communication, honestly.
Mhm.
And in like outside, nobody's allowed to fucking touch me. No,
There you
thank
go.
you.
So okay, we got to the gay stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, here we go. All right, so tell me about like how is it? Because it may feel quite natural to us in the industry, but to a lot of people outside the industry that are watching, they might think of like monogamous relationship, but you're a porn star. How do you maintain that? Walk us through kind of the dynamics of your relationship and how the sort of separation that you have between what you do for work and what you do privately.
Because what I do for work is just work.
Mm-hmm.
This is not real. And I think people tend to forget that as amazing as porn is, it's not real. This is not our everyday life. I'm lucky if I'm attracted to my co-star, but 99.9% of the time I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to work. I'm there to perform. I'm there to do my best. Every single time, I think award-winning performance. And it's just so the people that watch are like, wow, that was great. But I don't bring that back into my relationship. It's hard because sometimes things are very physical and I'm very drained. The exchanging of energy with others is very hard. We've talked about it when sometimes I'm able to come home and just be able to be cool. But the other times I'm like, hey, like I need to be left alone for a couple hours. I just kind of want to be in the shower and just steaming hot water and just trying to wash everything off because it is a lot, But every single scene is a little bit different, but it's just communication. She's very understanding. She's a talent assistant on set too.
Nice.
So she gets it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's also part of it too, right? Is like there's the delusion, like you said, like sex work is work, and performance is not the same thing as connecting privately when cameras aren't rolling, right? But it's a lot of people struggle to understand that there is a distinction between the two.
It's not easy for her. Don't get me wrong. And it's not easy for her. She has real feelings. She gets jealous. She, same with me. But we just talk about it. We talk it through. And I think that's something really beautiful that lesbian relationships have is that we're able to
What is that?
Yeah, that we're able to talk about our feelings. We're able to talk about things, even if it's uncomfortable for us.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that I'm just like, hey, don't touch me. It's not you. But I'm so overwhelmed with work. Like, I'm like, just let me exist.
Yes.
I love you, but just let me exist right now. And she gets it.
So how did you guys meet?
I met her on set.
Ah.
I know. I met her on set. So I was gonna go work with Reality Kings. Not Reality Kings. Yeah, it was Reality Kings. Or some band, something over there. Something in Florida. And she was the TA, she was like, oh, you know, she followed me on Instagram. I had seen her at this party, but I knew she was gay and I had just come out at that time. So I did a little questionnaire online on Instagram and someone was like, oh, what's your sexuality? I asked myself that. I was like, oh, I'm gay. And so I knew she was watching, so I kind of
Put the feeler out there.
Yeah, I put the seed out there. And then we have the same tattoo, her and I, at different places, and we connected on that when we first met. But there was just something very special about her from the beginning. There was something very, very special. I was pretty hesitant to get into a relationship because I was like, I'm a new gay. Like, I was like, I haven't really had the experiences. I haven't really, like, I don't know the lingo. I haven't really done any of this. You know, I was like, yeah, I fuck women, but like, not how you're probably used to fucking women. You know, I've dated other women before, but like, this was really serious. But she's great. She understands. She's super loving. And there's honestly nothing more I can ask for.
Well, it's amazing.
Thank you.
You know, there is the stereotype about lesbian relationships, right? Like first date at the movies, second date at the U-Haul.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's yeah. I mean, I've always U-hauled. My wife and I have been married for 6 years, and we've been together for, I guess, 8 or 9 years at this point. And it's just, you know, like you meet and then it's just instant like nesting, right? We bonded in large part by our equal desire to nest together. So yeah,
me and my girlfriend were driving one day when she came to visit because she used to live in Florida. And there was a U-Haul by my house. And I was like, do you believe in science? She's like, what? And I was like, turn to your left. And she saw the U-Haul. And then we started joking. And the next thing you know is I'm flying over there and driving her and her dog across country back to my house.
You know, new gay or not, Karen, that sounds like, you know, you've got the drill. You've got the memo there. What's the craziest place that you've ever had sex?
A slide in Arby's.
Okay.
Yeah, that Arby's doesn't exist anymore. And I know a lot of Arby's didn't have playgrounds, but this one did. And I remember fucking there midday.
During work hours. Yeah. Trying to be discreet in the Arby's.
Yeah.
That is a good answer.
Thank you.
No. Did you eat Arby's afterwards?
I've never had Arby's.
Is Arby's still around?
It is. Yeah.
One could have a whole conversation about Arby's is like one of those guilty pleasure fast food restaurants.
For who though?
I mean, I would say for me, it's been like a really long time since I've been to an Arby's, but I remember like just fucking with an Arby's like roast beef sandwich when I was younger. Like it was good. Like you didn't want anybody to see you go into the Arby's.
Yep.
But you would eat that Arby's.
You would eat it. I've actually never eaten it. I was eating something else.
Yeah. Well, you were definitely eating something. So here I instantly go to talk about the quality of Arby's.
Yeah.
There you go. But that is a good place. That takes the cake. I think we'll do a compilation at some point, and that might come out as the most unique. All right. What makes a good nude? As somebody who is quite skilled. Okay, lighting.
Lighting.
Okay.
Lighting is everything. You know? Lighting, I think I have to be honest, like lighting is so important, and people do not realize that. They do not realize it can make the worlds of difference in a fucking picture. I own too much lighting. Way too much. But if you look at my nudes, you look at all my selfies, I think I take better pictures of myself than anyone else.
There happens to be a lighting member of our esteemed lighting team off camera, and I just see like the nods of satisfaction happening right now.
Yeah.
There you go. Shout out to the lighting guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to the lighting guys. What's your biggest ick in the bedroom? And I know you're in like a really good, committed, monogamous.
The biggest ick in the bedroom, when I was dating men, is that they would only last 2 minutes. Yeah, that was an ick. I was like, all right, you had a great time. I will go grab my Hitachi and I will have a great time too. But with a girl, I really haven't had much with her, honestly. I don't really have any with her.
Look, there you go.
Yeah.
Brownie points right there. Shout out to the girlfriend. Did it kind of shock you having gone from like, civilian relationships with guys that lasted 2 minutes to like the men of porn and like sometimes having to have sex for multiple hours in different positions?
I don't really feel like it's multiple hours. Most of the time, the guys are just trying not to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes and no, because like when I shot with Dredd, I've never had a penis so big in my whole entire life. Oh my God. And that was a collab. And I remember seeing myself after the collab because I did the collab. It was intense. I went home, had an edible, and I was like, I need to chill. And then he dropped a trailer, and I looked like I was getting fucked. And I have never seen myself getting fucked. Like, I've had sex, I've seen my videos, but never fucked.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Somebody once described it as being fucked out, and it was like a younger performer, and I'd never heard, speaking of like young Lego, I'd never heard like that, like getting fucked out, but I guess that's what that would be.
Yeah. I sent it to 3 of my friends, and I was like, please watch this. I was like, how do I look? They're like, it looks hot, Karen. Like, you look like you're like really taking it. I was like, because I was. But like, I was too stoned at the time to be like, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I do hear. I don't know Dredd personally, but I do hear that like he is really great with his talent.
He's good
and creating a really like, we're gonna try, but if you say, if we can't, then we can't, and I will make sure you're happy either way.
No, he's great.
It's like a challenge. It's like the Guinness Book of World Records in porn. Like to have a session with Dredd and to survive it.
Hey, I think he should make shirts. I survived Dredd.
Yes, there you go. There you go. What's the craziest DM you've ever got from a fan?
Oh my God. I can't even answer that. They're all so stupid.
Okay. What's the most common line of questioning or commentary you get?
All the time, besides asking me if they could be in my videos. I do want to say there's a big difference between camgirl fans, OnlyFans fans, and porn fans.
Let's break it down.
Porn fans are fucking insane. I don't understand what is wrong with them. They do not understand limits. They do not understand barriers. It's because I'm naked, they feel so entitled to your body. And my God, they have so many things to say. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, if you don't like me, don't watch me.
Now, are these, this is actually really fascinating. And I want to look at these 3 different audience segments because I think you're totally right. Now, with the porn fans, there's also like 2 levels there, right? There's the people behind the paywall. So like, the Adult Time members or members of any other pay site. And then there's like the free porn users.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the porn users, do you see that same sort of sense of objectivity and entitlement in both? Is one stronger in one space or the other?
So the free ones are worse. They're always worse, of course. But the ones that pay you, that talk shit to you, you're like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I also don't want that. I will literally block or refund you your money. Go fuck yourself. Don't think just because you're giving me $15 fucking that you can talk to me. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a shit about you. And I don't give a shit what you say, and you're not going to make me feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
It boggles my mind. Like we still have video comments, but not for so much longer, but just the things that people feel the gall to say.
Yeah.
Like just like coming from that place of entitlement and, just ripping somebody where you do really have to question what are they paying for?
Exactly. And it's hard, like I've said, when other girls offer so much more and you always have to be like, I don't, I'm here, I don't. Well, this person does it. I'm like, that's great. Go with her.
I get one of my favorites is, and this is not to, there's a little bit of a trash talking. We have a majority of our fans are amazing and very respectful and everything. But what always boggles my mind, right, is like, let's say, I know you're not shooting anal now, but let's say you were a performer who does shoot anal and you came and did a scene with us and it wasn't an anal scene. Somebody will be like, it was an absolute waste that she didn't do anal. You are to blame for not making her do anal. It's like, dude, do you know how this works? Like it wasn't an anal day.
Exactly.
And either way, we can't like make anybody do anything, like, and it wasn't like just a spur of the moment choice. So that's sometimes that kind of like sense of delusion and entitlement.
Yep. On Twitter, every comment is anal with Dredd. I'm like, you go do anal with Dredd, okay? I'm like, you want me to do it? You go do it. You go put these things up your butt, and then we can have a conversation. But going back to the fans.
Yes.
Okay, so camgirl fans. I really enjoyed it because I was a camgirl for 10 plus years. I just went back, so I'm camming again. And what I like about them is that it becomes very personal. You get to know these guys. Yes, when I'm chatting on OnlyFans and I'm talking to the guys, it's a little bit different. But when I'm every single day talking, I have my regulars. You've built a relationship. You get to know people. I believe that sex work is so much more than taking off your clothes and fucking. As a camgirl, as an OnlyFans creator, you're a therapist.
Mhm.
You're sometimes their best friend. It's not always sexual, and people tend to forget that. You know, and then being with OnlyFans, I felt like the guys were a little bit more delusional, you know, because when OnlyFans was getting big, and then there would be other girls being like, "Fuck a fan," and I'm like, "Yo, they're not really fucking their fans. Like, this is all fake, guys." And they're like, "So we can't fuck?" I'm like, "No, man, no,
Sorry.
sorry." But OnlyFans people were kind of in the middle. But yeah, the free porn fans are fucking something else,
Yeah.
bro. I'm like, don't. You're so weird. And but I've been naked on the internet since I was 18. So I've had hell of an experience for, I'm going to say, almost 15 years now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause-
Well, it's probably taught you quite a lot about human psychology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast was that, you know, I've always been so impressed and really inspired by just how like smart and funny and cool and creative the people in our industry are. But there's
all of them, though.
there's not enough there's not enough kind of a spotlight shined on just like interesting conversations, right? So
No, I agree.
part of maybe the way we can secretly combat the delusion is just by having good conversations, making content that reflects, you know, realism, or just puts, you know, female pleasure or authenticity at the forefront, even if it's fantasy. And sort of, you know, that's how you stick it to the man that way, I guess.
No, I agree. I've met a lot of women that are so smart. They're so smart. I'm amazed. I love to see it. But I've also met a lot of women I'm like, I have to have sex with you?
Yeah.
Fuck, okay.
Well, it takes all kinds.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about I would say you is like, you know, you really coming from the background that you came from and being very self-taught, a great marketer, building your brand. You're an inspiration for a lot of people coming in, right?
Thank you.
So when they get to be on set with you,
Yeah.
even if it might be like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, like where did you walk? What bus did you walk off of? You know, I know that you know, getting to be on set with you is a really cool coup.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yes.
So like helping, I always think, you know, the best thing we can do is give a good experience.
Exactly.
Because that helps, you know, set the tone for everybody.
Yeah. For like when I'm on set, I treat everybody with respect. I'm so kind, so polite. I just want everybody to feel good. I feel like life is so fucking hard and we're all getting fucked one way or another. There's nothing wrong with me just being nice, of asking you about your day, you know, just being present. And I think a lot of people get lost in not being present.
Living actual lives versus just watching people live their lives, right?
It's a full circle.
It's a full circle. All right, last question I'm going to ask you, Karen.
Okay.
So you've obviously come and shot with Adult Time a few different series.
Mhm.
One of the things I love to do with the performers we work with are collaborations, so creative projects. And that always stems from ideas that you have. So if you could do any dream scene, can't guarantee it. It may or may not be compliant.
I have so
but
many.
what would be something that you would like love to do with Adult Time?
So I'm a painter.
Okay.
I'm a painter, and I would love nothing more than like a sexual artsy scene, you know, where there is pain involved. There's another person, the body, just creating art within ourselves as we create art.
Ooh. Ooh, okay. All right. So everybody listening and watching, if you want to see that brought to life, say something, because that's the best excuse for us to do it. This was the best excuse to actually get to meet face to face. It won't be the last time for sure. All right. So thank you so much, Karen.
You.
We will see you next week. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. You can call her X. You can call her XWife Karen. You can just call her Karen. Man, it was rad to talk to Karen today. I have been a big fan since back, like when she built her brand on Tumblr. She went from teen mom to like self-made, like superstar, amazing, inspiring, super cool and down to earth. Plus, we got to find out what she did in an Arby's, all right? And I will never think of Arby's the same way again. If you enjoyed this conversation, let us know, like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all the things. We always take your feedback and use it, so please let us know what you thought. And we will see you next week.